What's up, guys? Andy Peters here on this little mini cast session that I'm going to do. So if you know me, I'm typically on Telegram, doing videos, doing Zoom markups, doing calls, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to have some fun with this mini cast because the feedback that I've been getting a lot on Instagram, across the board are some topics that people really want me to dive into, and the fun one for me is, as you know, I've got my no friend shirt. And my saying has been, you either have acquaintances or you have family. You really don't have, friends. It's such a gray area. And with that comes these other conversations that just go deeper and deeper and deeper with you. Man, I'm not where I want to be. And sometimes I feel like my friends are the ones that's keeping me from truly lifting off. And, looking at that, I can see where that's an issue, especially if you're one of those people pleasers, because I was once the people pleaser. I was once the person that, I had to make sure that everyone was happy. I had to make sure that I included everyone in my dinner plans. I had to make sure I included everyone when we went out. And then I found that it was draining. It was draining energy for me. And then not everyone is on the same page that I was. Not everyone wanted the same wins that I wanted. And the more and more I saw it, I was like, man, this is all the way across the board. And, it's like you want to follow, success. You want to follow wealth. You want to try to put yourself in a place to where you can grow. And when those people start holding you back with bad habits, and sometimes it's not even bad habits that you think are bad habits. It's like I'm going out with some friends to, the lake. I'm going to a pool party. I'm going to someone's birthday party. I'm going out for, to celebrate, X, Y, and Z. And it's not that it's bad, but it's not lining up with what you're trying to achieve. We think about going out on a Friday night. How bad is a Friday night? Well, Friday nights aren't going to be terrible, but what happens when Friday night is so rough that it leads into a rough Saturday where you just don't feel yourself and you're having to recoup on Saturday, and then you turn out to be lazy on Sunday. Monday comes and you're just around the same, habit again of going to work, finishing up your work day, and then bam, the weekend comes, and it's always something else. There's always something to piece your time, and you'll find that the older you get, there's always something, whether it's something that your wife has for you, your husband, your kids. There's always something to pull that away. So that you've got to figure out what structure you're going to have in your life and what people are going to contribute to your success. And it goes with anything. It's something that my dad, my grandfather, and even like my good buddy Zach Rad taught me a long time ago. And this was even before social media was taken off, where you had people that could motivate you and influencers and things like that. But it was always, if someone's living the life that you want to live, you basically start mimicking their daily actions. You start mimicking what they're doing on a day-to-day, because if it's working for them, 9 times out of 10, it's going to work for you. That could be a struggle. There's someone that may be waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning and they're successful and that's part of their routine. And you try waking up at 5 o'clock and you feel like death. It's something that truly could take time to adjust to. But it's like, I always like using the gym. If there's someone in the gym and you look at this guy and he's jacked, he looks great, abbed out, built good, and you want to be built like him. Now it may have taken him 4 to 5 years to get there, but if you start mimicking his eating habits, his supplement regimen, his sleeping schedule, his workout routine, and you're like, yo, bro, I'm going to work out with you every day the same time you get there and do exactly what you're doing. Now, at some point, genetics play a huge role, and you may not get to the level that he's at, but you're going to be better than what you were, because you're starting to mimic everything that someone that you look up to, that you want to be like, is doing. It goes out with anything, dirt bike racing. You want to practice with the fastest guys, and you want to mimic how they're going through the turns, how they're jumping the jumps. And I say it's that same thing in life. You find someone that's successful and you start mimicking their habits. And that was something that I caught myself doing, was I had bad habits. So, when people are like, Andy, when you really started pulling yourself away from, the people pleasing, you started really making your circle smaller, things just seemed to take off for you. Like it just took off. And it's like, well, it's not that it took off. It's because I started mimicking other people's lifestyles that I saw success. So I looked into, I probably pulled like your top 5 to 10 millionaires, and I started looking at their daily habits of things that worked for them, that they had wrote about, whether it was in their own books or interviews they did. And I compiled a list of things that I was like, man, if I start implementing this into my life, it may help me be successful. And then, as you all know, Anthony Williams, I started mimicking, the way that he would trade and the way he looked at the market, and all that stuff started taking shape. So I think where the frustration with people comes into play is when they start mimicking these things and trying to do it and then just give up because it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit the narrative of their life based on their friends. And I think that's where the pain point for me comes in, is when I see someone trying so hard to be successful. And, sometimes it's not even about being successful for wealth. Sometimes it's about being successful for just being a better dad, a better husband. And you start seeing them try to do this, and then all of a sudden their friends pull them into this, man, we need to go here. Man, I've not seen you in forever. What's wrong with you? Man, you're not meeting me to do this anymore, and you're not doing that. And then it's that guilt trip. And then all of a sudden they're back into that same circle. And fast forward, it's like, well, I'm young. I've got plenty of time to do this. And I mean, I don't want to be that guy, but I'm sorry. But if you're in your 40s, you're old. I'm 39, and I'll be the first to say it. Age-wise, I'm old. Now, it doesn't mean you have to feel old. It doesn't mean you have to be old. It doesn't even mean you have to look old. But when you look at numbers, 40 is halfway there. If you live to be 80, you're halfway through your life. And when I look at people that, I've been around, as far as my grandparents and other dads and people that I've seen pass away, that sweet spot right now is right around that 74 to 78 years old. So I'm 39. So I'm right there at that sweet spot of this is halfway. And anyone that tells you that halfway is young is, I think you need to relook at things and kind of, realign your life to it. I mean, how many times do you look at your phone and you're like, oh man, I got 75, 80% left to charge. I'm good. And then you look at it, it gets down to 50 and you're like, oh, I'm solid. Well, then as soon as it starts dipping into those 40s, it goes down pretty quick, and 30s and 20s, you start freaking out. You're trying to borrow someone's charger or do something different. So I kind of apply that same thing to life is, once you start getting into your late 30s and early 40s, like I said, you don't have to act old and you don't have to, look old or be old, but number-wise, you're old. You're halfway through your life. And if you are in your late 30s and 40s and you're halfway through your life and you haven't figured out yet kind of your lane you want to be in, you've not figured out your circle of friends, you don't have your good habits in place or anything like that, you are on the verge of disaster. And that's where, in my opinion, and like I said, this is all my opinion, is you start hitting that, midlife crisis area, because it's fight or flight mode. You're in that fight or flight mode to truly fill out life to where it works for you. You're like, what do I do? Who am I going to find someone I can live the rest of my life with? Some people may not have kids. Some people may not have, a steady job that they consider this is going to be something I want to work and retire at. And you start getting that fight or flight mode. And then that's where it gets dangerous, because now you're just trying to grasp for things. You're trying to hang out with these people to make yourself feel, fulfilled over here. You're trying to date this person to fill a void of this not working. And I've just seen it all across the board. And it's like, wow, we've really got to get our stuff together. And I would say in the last six to 8 months, the people that I have worked with, kind of done more of a mentorship coaching, where we've just evaluated their life in general, and their priorities. It's like, wow, these people are trying to take the right steps quick, because once you start getting in that time, it can be bad. It can be really bad. And, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole of, age and all that mess. Cause like I said, I'm speaking firsthand. I turned 39 this year, and, there's times I look and I'm like, man, I wasted a lot of time doing dumb stuff with people that really don't matter. And I hate saying that, but it's the honest to God's truth. I mean, there's people who I've been over backwards for, whether it was helping them move, work on cars, build something, help them build their business. And then I look at it today and they're not here. They're nowhere around. I've not heard from them in months, years. They've not even reached out or anything. And that's not a bad thing, but it just shows that people forget quickly. How many people do you know where someone has passed away and died? And it's like, for the first 2 weeks, they're mourning, and it makes them so sad to think about. They'll post, oh, this was our song, I remember this. But then you fast forward like a year and a half, and you'll run into people and bring up a conversation. They're like, oh man, yeah, I forgot he even passed away. And that's how most life is to people is, you're there in the moment. And then when you're out of that moment, you're kind of just a shadow in the background. And when I started realizing that, that's when things really took shape for me. So, in this mini cast, I'm trying to keep these down, below 20 minutes. But, people, Andy, what do you think is the number one driver to success today that's really keeping people blocked out? Like, what is the biggest block ever? And I'm going to say people, the circle that you're around, the people that you even maybe lay your head down with at night time. And I hate saying that because, think about it. You love your wife, you love your husband, you love your boyfriend, girlfriend, but then you wake up in the morning and you're like, hey, I want to do X, Y, and Z. I want to be dedicated to this. I want to build success and wealth for our family. And then you hear them, you're never going to do that. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. All you do is talk about this, and this, and it never works. And all you do, and it's negative, 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 negative. But you love that person so much. So what do you do? That's a tough one. And that was a question that I actually got asked on Instagram a few weeks ago was, and this was actually from a woman, I love my husband and he's everything to me, but he's always negative about every single thing I want to do. I said I wanted to get in better shape and I wanted to look like I did when I was in my, 20s. And he said it'd never happen. I told him I wanted to start my own business, and he said it was the dumbest thing that I could ever think of. And I'm like, wow. So that's the person that loves you, is someone who's going to downplay you that much and talk negative about your dreams and goals. I'm not going to tell her what to do. It's not my place. So, I just kind of walk through things of, well, maybe you should ask him this, maybe you should do this. And it's like, man, I'm not even a counselor. I'm just giving my opinion. And then I get done with the conversation and I'm like, what would I do? Like, what would I do in that situation? And that's where it truly is a tough, life-changing, conversation, or it's something where, wow, we really don't mix. We really don't mix this life together. We really aren't chasing goals together. And that's where then you've got to truly ask yourself, am I okay with this? Am I okay living a mediocre life? Am I okay not chasing my dreams? Am I okay knowing that I live this life on a scale from 1 to 10 at like a 3 or 4? And when I'm on my deathbed, it will be a cool dream to say, well, it could have happened, but it didn't. And I'm like, no, I don't want to be that person. I don't want to sit there knowing that, man, I've got a couple more years to live and I never did anything I wanted to do and live out my dreams and my passions because I allowed someone else to control that. And, if a person is happy with, the life they live, being subpar on their dreams, passions, and they're just something they dream about when they lay their head down at nighttime, then, that's for them. I completely get it. But for people who are truly want to chase a dream of theirs, whether it's being a better dad, spending more time with their kids, taking vacations with their family, spending more time with their wives, every single thing that you want to do, you've got to ask yourself, how can I do it better? And that's something that I've probably worked on the most within the last year of anything is, how can I be better at this? And it's taken the support of close friends. It's taken the support of, I say close friends, I mean family. When I say close friends, I mean family. It's taken the support of a wife who, when I told her this crazy idea and dream that I had of, traveling and educating people on trading and online classes, that she didn't say, that's the dumbest thing I heard. She said, that is genius. And she supported me. She truly supported me. And it was kind of weird at first because I'm sitting here thinking in my head, man, when I tell Hannah about what I'm about to do, she's going to say, that is the craziest thing I've ever heard. And when I told her, she went, if you think that's going to work, babe, do it. I support you 100%. If it means that you're going to have to, stay up late nights and early mornings, I'm all for it. And that just kind of drove me even further to want to do it because now I've got her support and I don't want to let her down. So, you've got the people you want to prove wrong, but in my situation, I do better when people believe in me and I don't want to let them down, versus when people say you can't do that and I have to prove them wrong. Cause then I feel like I'm doing it for spot and I'm really not in it for me. I'm not in it for the passion. I'm just in it to say, ha, I told you so. And anything that I've done in my life where it's been a ha, I told you so, I was very, very unmotivated once I reached the point of where I said, I told you so. And anything else where I've had the support of people to where I've succeeded to something and it's actually went the way I want it to, the passion drove me even further with it. So, we're at the 15-minute mark of this. Like I said, I want to keep it less than 20 minutes. If there's anything that I can tell you that I think is extremely important, especially in today's time, is write down your dreams, write down your passions, write down your goals. Find out what's keeping you from getting there. And when you write that down, find a way to fix it. If it's because you don't have enough time, write down the things that are eating up your time and which ones you can sacrifice. If your dreams and goals are being stopped by a group of friends, then ask yourself, what are those friends contributing to your life to make you better? Now, sometimes it could be, well, Andy, these people, they make me laugh. This person I go to the gym with and we have killer workouts together and we do this and we do that. It's like, but that's awesome. But what are they contributing to the growth of your life? And that's probably one of the things, and I hate using this word, disgust, but that's probably one of the biggest things that disgust me is when I see people who want to succeed in life, who want to build wealth, or who want to just be a better person and build their own business and do these things. And their friends pull them away with all this just random time of things, of going out and going here and going there and party this and party that. And when they mention they don't want to go out, or they mention that they want to chill at home, it's guilt trip. And that always disgusts me. When someone throws a guilt trip on you for something you're trying to better yourself on, that just, it's just disgusting. So once you can figure out, those points, then you can move to that next step of how do you either tell these people you're not going to do it? How do you pull away? What truly is the, that roadblock? And while I know that sounds like so easy and it's not a ton of information, I mean, removing one negative person or one toxic person or one person who doesn't believe in you can be the difference of you truly living your dream. And I've seen that firsthand, and I've watched other people who have seen that firsthand. Where they're like, man, XYZ friend is just the most toxic person I met. Every time I'm around them, it feels like they suck the energy out of me, and I can't even think straight. Guess what? People who are always negative will suck your positivity out. You can walk in a room and be the most positive person, and if there are 5 negative people in there who are complaining about their finances, who are complaining about their marriage, who are complaining about friendships, who are complaining about the way they look, all of that's going to weigh in on you. And when you walk out of that room, I can promise you, there's no way you're going to be the happiest person. It's going to drain you. And that same thing happens with people when they're married to negative people and toxic people, when they're dating someone, when they're hanging out with them. And obviously, I'm not saying everyone should just leave these people, because sometimes it's something that can be worked on. Sometimes it can be something as simple as the person don't even know they're negative towards your dreams because it's just in their, maybe they were raised that way where you can't live your dream. And I see it firsthand. Me and Hannah can go to a restaurant and pull up, and we can pull up in the Ferrari and get out, and I'll hear a guy say, man, I'm gonna have one of those cars one day. And you see the wife or girlfriend, whoever, and say, oh yeah, how are you gonna afford that? Oh, well, I'm gonna work for it. Yeah, right. You'll never have that, sweetie. And it's like that alone right there, like there is nothing that she is doing to support him. We see it on the flip end too with men and women, where the woman, Hannah, will be out, and she'll have on a cute little outfit, and they'll want to say, God, you are just the cutest thing ever. I want to look like, I just want to have your build, and I can promise you if I work towards it, I could have it. And then the husband, sweetie, you'll never look like her. Unless you're planning on, eating plants and not eating anything else and exercising, 2 hours a day, you'll never look like that. And it's like, we're right there alone, negativity, feeding it, putting it out there. So we're at the 19-minute mark. Guys, I really appreciate you listening to this first little mini cast on topics that I've seen on Instagram that have been sent my way and things that I've seen. And if there's anything you want my opinion on, kind of want to hear, what I feel about it, then shoot it over to me, and I'll be sure to get one together. And hopefully someone learned something from this. And again, appreciate you all, and we'll catch up with you soon.